Vibin about to go on lunch break just in time for patch notes. Let's go. There you go.
Hello everybody and welcome to the 9.8 Smite update show. We have so much to talk about today. We have a new god, we have an Odyssey event, balance, so many things to go over. But first, we have a very special announcement for you. Check out this video.
I literally can't make Chrome any louder. He sounds kind of quiet. Okay. Either way. Can you wish me luck on my last 2 hours of work, Vince? Of course, good luck. I hope it goes well. Okay. We already knew the HRX was happening. I mean, I'm hoping that there's information. January 13th to 15th? Arlington, Texas? Wow. That's actually not as far as I thought it would be.
Hashtag Worlds with Fans. We've been so excited to tell you all about this, and it's happening.
Can you please swallow the mic so I can hear you?
We're extremely excited for this event. There'll be more information coming soon, so keep your eyes out, but we just couldn't wait. We had to tell y'all as soon as we could, so
Either way.
look forward to it. Besides that, let's get into the patch show. There's a lot coming with 9.8, and I'm excited to start.
I guess we just have to
talking
turn
about
up all
it.
the noises for the
Two
time
people
being.
that I'm joined with today. You know them, you love them, Aggro and AJ. How are y'all doing?
Doing really well now that the
Somebody
news
remind me to
out.
turn that back down
Yeah,
later.
It's actually the week before my birthday, and so if you
Okay.
wanted to get me a birthday present,
Yeah, Worlds in Texas.
That's,
Worlds in Texas. So it's going to be bigger.
Definitely. And make sure to wear a bow as well so that he knows, who all did that. But, I mean, I'm just so excited for this. It's my first time being able to really partake in something like this, and it's just going to be huge.
Might have to go to Texas. Really want to go to a Smite Worlds event? Yeah,
I've
no
missed
kidding.
you all so much. I remember my first.
Oh, thank you,
World
Taco. I
Championship
appreciate that,
where
man.
Nobody knew who I was, and I was just standing behind the playtest booth watching people test Amaterasu for the first time. And then, the next few years, just having so many people wanting to ask questions and to share stories about Smite, it really is a magical time. And it's also me and Aggro should almost share our birthday. We're just a few days apart.
So it's for both of us.
If you want to come to our joint birthday party at Smite World Championships,
Oh, yeah. It's going to be huge.
party hats will be provided.
Yes.
Okay, birthday party is
Well,
cool.
super cool. So
Awesome.
let's get right into it then. We have some balance to start
Worlds
with.
are happening at least? Yeah.
Game mode balance and duel changes. Looks like a few things are happening in the duel category.
You want to go to at least one HRX in your
This
life?
is a big one.
Same, actually.
We haven't really done too much for duel recently. We wanted to change it. The non-conquest balance as a feature brought up a lot of discussions about this. Overall, duel is a very unique game. So generally the difficulty in balancing for duel is that duel doesn't really follow the rules of any other mode in Smite. No. None of the things that are normally good are good in duel, or things that are generally
Wait.
unplayed are very good in duel.
They're actually helping duel?
Very unique, all of it,
I absolutely love this Amaterasu sweatshirt. That's his only sweatshirt.
that we think
He doesn't own another one.
to create quite a bit of excitement in the duel community, and if not, at least a much needed shake.
Yeah.
So we're going to be very open to tracking this in the future and potentially making some more changes. But the first announcements are 3 big changes coming to this game. The first one.
Bro, I've turned up the volume on my computer and the stream as loud as it will go. Are these guys quiet?
Corruption map. So traditional Joust will continue to use, and ranked Joust will continue to use the Season 3 Chinese Joust map, but Duel will now be played on the Jade Corruption. Now that might sound strange to some
Thank
people,
God,
though.
somebody's
Jade
told him
Corruption,
it was
that
too quiet.
More camps, more things, it's a little bit
Okay.
bigger. Why is it
Okay.
better for Duel? Well, we did take some time before this patch, reach out to some Duel mains, some Duel creators, run through the options with them, and a lot of them preferred that map.
Vince, please twerk at the end.
The
Can't do that,
additional
man, I'm
camps
sorry.
Allow for some additional skill expression. They give you more options. The Joust play on that map led to, I feel like, I don't know, it led to less action.
What part of
Joust
Texas is
players
Worlds?
really
I have no
just like
idea.
That core 3v3.
I don't remember.
Their abilities best. Who's gonna wombo combo the best?
The audio's been
Yeah,
bad for the last few shows. Yeah, it really
Duel
has.
Is not as much about just 1v1 on her basic attacking people for who has the better accuracy. It's a
Right.
lot more than that.
Yeah, it's a lot about macro.
So people like that in Duel to have a little bit more space, a little bit more options. So we are changing to that map. That comes with another exciting change, which says that now we have more freedom to adjust the item set and banned item set in Duel. So we will be banning 100% of the starter items and their upgrades in Duel.
Get 'em out.
Those items were designed for team play and
Wow.
was playing bigger maps.
Yeah.
That's actually huge for
throughout
Duel.
the last
That's
few
been like the
seasons,
biggest
there's
issue
always
with balance in
one
Duel is
item
starter
that's
items.
just the go-to in Duel, the must-have. It's caused a lot of problems for that community. So instead of killing them one at a time until we found like the one that was medium enough for not to care. We're just gonna go ahead and take all of them out of the rotation. So you're just gonna be going, tier 2 Transcendence, or I would say the Boots Rush, but that's not a thing anymore. So you're gonna have to find some new ways to start, Tiny Trinket and potions and who knows.
Arlington, about an hour from Dallas, 3 hours from Houston. Gotcha. Okay, so no starter items in Duel anymore. That's actually massive.
Change, which is that now the
that's huge.
Conquest balance is that actually going to be
that's really, really big
because it's just not going to apply to it. Duel is going to continue to use conquest balance. Really, non-conquest balance tends to create buffs and nerfs for
Duel still using conquest balance is a good change too.
Constant 5v5 skirmishes.
Yummy, 9 months. Thank you so much for the support. You're amazing. I hope you're having a great day today.
So applying
non-conquest balance. Your dude was just in here earlier. We were chatting for a bit. I told him to say that I miss you, and I hope you're doing well.
Specific gods for Duel and have
we're just watching some patch notes.
It really just makes more sense, I think, to just keep
almost as good as banning warriors from Conquest. You don't want that. That would be worse.
Yeah, Duel's in its own little bubble.
Because then your solo lane would be all Guardians and Assassins. That'd be dumb.
All the other non-conquest modes,
or Hunters.
For Joust, which is 3v3, but it's still team fight oriented. It's still constant team fighting in a group. That's where we see like the difference between a God's win rate in Assault versus Clash. Probably not going to be that different, but something like Duel is going to differ very heavily. So I think that's why it makes sense to exclude Duel from the non-conquest modes and keep it in its own little Duel bubble.
Agreed.
Very exciting.
Duel should be in its own Duel bubble. I agree.
That's okay, but I would encourage you to go watch some. It's more of a spectator sport, honestly. It's really fun to watch. We have a lot of very dedicated creators in that space, so I'm sure they'll be.
Missed you too, currently lurking, but I love your commentary. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hopefully things are going great for you. Hope you had a good day.
Oh yeah, always with the feedback. We're always looking and listening. If you're like, wow, man, no starters, that's horrible. Well, listen, we'll hear that. So cool. Looks like Joust
no starters is a good change for Duel.
Change as well coming up in this update.
Right. This comes as a side effect of these map and mode changes items. Is we will now be able to re-enable all starter items on Joust. So previously, a couple were banned. I believe it was Benevolence and Death's Toll. Because they were being abused in Duel. Those maps now on different maps can now have different items.
Chris out here feeling a disturbance of the Force. Yeah, he definitely is. All starter items will be re-enabled in Joust and Ranked Joust. Wow. Okay. So Joust is going to have Death's Toll enabled and stuff like that. Good.
Game mode map type stuff. And we're kind of starting off on a hot topic here. We're starting off on the earring tree. We're touching quite a few of them. Starting with Sphinx's Bauble, but do you want to talk about the earrings?
All right, Bauble.
They've kind of still new on the battleground, really.
Whoa, power nerfs, okay.
Yeah, I think that overall, I mean, we knew that this was going to be
no longer has any damage output debuff.
We've messed around with them in bonus balance and things like that, but I think that we wanted to release them in the way that we did to make sure that we knew what type of effects it would have. We had a lot of internal feedback sessions with content creators and pros, and there was a lot of back and forth, and that kind of led to where we ended up. And we've heard the feedback now that our players want these to be powerful effects that they can feel good buying. So
they're trying to make this a mage item only.
Powerful effects that you can feel good buying. And starting with Sphinx's Bauble, this one is the one that
it's going to reduce your protections. That's why.
Of course, right after it was released.
Magical and physical protections by 15%. So it'll be worse on tanky characters. That's why.
Really focusing Bauble on being a mage-centric item. Now that we aren't at the 60% cooldown increase anymore.
It's literally worse on tanks, Kage.
Making sure that it feels good on mages. So removing that damage reduction and instead adding protection reduction. So
didn't read that,
incentivizes you from going it on Guardians, because we felt like the abuse cases were mostly
Guardians,
high CC Guardians or
Ganesha,
high survivability Guardians,
Odin, people like that, people who want to be tanky.
Their kill dropped because Geb shielded them. What if he's dropping 3 in a fight all of a sudden? And that's where we really felt like the majority of frustration cases will come in. We anticipate this item will be good, as we do.
It went from a support item to a mage item 100%, as it should,
That's what that's what we're going for here. We want them to be strong.
This one we're taking the safest route with.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't think it's necessarily going to de-incentivize supports from buying it, but it's certainly going to come with a larger cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be a little bit better for mages. So this is a very much.
I like this change. I think this is a good change.
Pretty much our shifts.
It's like Fighter's Mask for mages, kind of. Yeah. Except for instead of a power boost, you get a cooldown buff.
So
and they're reducing the power on the item as well. 50% CDR Yu Huang full power 0. That's got to be crazy. Oh yeah, that's a lot of abilities. A lot of abilities. This plus Chronos Pendant, dude.
Instead, just protect penalty. So if you buy this on a mage, the downside will be almost negligible.
Yeah.
If you haven't bought any other protection items, then it'd be like 7 protections, which means you'd be losing.
Yeah.
This is now a must-buy mage item.
Feel that a little bit more. However, you know, as you stack lots of protections, they do get a
But
little less effective. So losing a little.
You won't have Geb bolts happening every like 15 seconds. You won't have Geb shields happening every 5 seconds. Things like that, you know?
Emoja, Geb, and stuff like that.
So, Nox silences galore? No, Nox is a support character, dude. Stop it.
All these items, make
Stop
them
it.
a little bit easier to fit in builds, a little bit more applicable, and just stronger in general. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough.
certainly viable on supports, but it'll be a more noticeable drawback than it was losing the damage.
Two and a
There's
half.
virtually no drawback for support.
Yeah, exactly. On
Yep.
mage,
Thoughts on reinstalling Smite? Why did you uninstall in the first place? You know?
It's
No.
all about watching yourself. Well, cool. The next earring getting touched is actually Griffin Wing, another one that I'm a really big fan
Okay.
of. So what changes are coming down the line for Griffin Wing?
This one's real
say-
simple. Just adding some magical power and completely removing the damage debuff. You know, we heard the feedback that this
What?
was an item that felt good, but was very hard to fit into builds because you have to do so much in order to actually offset that.
If it's
We
just
did
because
see
you're addicted to
some
League, you should
gods
for
that
sure
it fit-
re-download
that
Smite.
It did make sense on. You know, I played a lot of Gibelon
Wow.
with Griffin Wing and getting to snipe people with my long range auto.
This is actually sick.
But now we still feel like this item does have a trade-off in the sense that it doesn't have any prot shred or on-hit effects or anything like that. It is
Okay, so this
purely
item is at least
stats
buildable now.
and helping you hit your basic attacks a little
Yeah.
bit. So with that, we feel like we could go ahead and remove this debuff and see how it lands.
The feedback generally was that the
Wow.
passive was a little weak. So the downside didn't make sense to people.
Griffin Wing was great on Freya. Griffin Wing may have felt good on Freya. Griffin Wing is objectively speaking
Agreed.
terrible on
Yeah.
every
With this
character.
item a little bit more.
Like actually terrible on every single character. When you are playing a carry role, if you have anything that reduces your damage, that is a direct nerf, no matter what. Let's say, like it's literally just a like get good type of scenario. That item was god awful on every single carry character in the game. Genuinely, fun, yes.
Agreed.
Does it make it easier to land autos? Sure, but it was bad.
We will.
It was
Yeah,
actually
we'll see.
bad.
Y'all will tell us for sure, and I'm excited to see it hit the ground. So next up, Rose Spike Earrings. Look like some stat changes going on there a little bit.
Yeah, rose spiked earrings in this whole tree of
now they're loud,
Manicore
okay.
spikes and Feyblast hoops are
He
all
found the
getting a
mic.
little bit of a stat readjustment
found the mic.
along with some buffs that you'll see in a minute to their passives. Of
course.
Okay. Okay.
We just felt like these items, you know, they're really cheap. We went with this health identity because both of these item passives care about
Mm-hmm.
your health.
Yeah.
But strictly buying health just wasn't going to end up putting these in a competitive enough space. So we're adding a little bit of magical protection
Change
to the Rose
competitive volume,
Spikes.
yeah.
You'll see that as well on both Manticore Spike and Feyblast hoops.
This is the tier 2.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
the one
So the
building
whole
into.
side of this
Okay.
tree is essentially being reworked.
Let's say if that's too quiet, let me know.
Yep.
Yeah, from
so
the
it will
from the
fit
ground up.
much more naturally into traditional
If
support.
it's too quiet, let me
Okay,
know.
and how does that build into Feyblast and Manticores? Is there more going into
I wish they would do
those?
like a test
Yes,
chat for
Feyblast
all the
is
people watching
really
the stream.
getting its identity, just like we did with Bobble, where
Yeah.
we made it a little bit more clear who is supposed to be buying this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is really best on mages, but doable on other classes. Now,
Nice.
with
Added
Feyblast,
prots,
it
that's
is
good.
clearly supposed to be best on these frontliners. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the Guan Yus, the Sylvanuses, those feel
Yeah.
really, really good with Feyblast hoops. But if you're a Hell, if you're an Aphrodite who decides they want it, it still feels really good in that moment. So it's not about only these gods can buy it. It's about trying to leverage.
So sad I
you know,
won't build
to
Bobble on Jing anymore.
incentivize
Look,
these gods.
it's
to
the game
pick
is better
these up
for
and
it.
make them
Honestly,
fit a little
it's
bit more
frustrating, but the
quickly.
game is straight up better
Yeah,
for
that
it.
makes sense. Cool.
I don't think we expect mage healer supports to become meta because of this, but
No.
I did want to give them an item that allows them to flex more into that. In the
They said it
casual
themselves.
space,
They
then
don't
your
want mage
mates,
healer supports to
you know,
become
we can
meta.
find something a little bit more
They don't want to see
Yeah,
your
so
Aphrodite support. We don't care how much you care or how much you think it's good.
Lose the
They don't want to
HP
see your
and
Aphrodite
gain
support.
50 health, 10 CDR, and 60
Hmm.
magical protections, which is a pretty good trade.
15
Oh,
active
yeah.
mods right now, and chat's giving you a
I
headache.
take
Yeah.
So generally,
It's
there
all
was
good,
also
dude.
some thought that these two, both Feyblast and Manticore, felt a little understated.
Got
So
it.
that is going to.
Here I come with kisses of Zaphro support.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we still think that the passive for Feyblast in
Exactly,
particular
Avarice.
is still strong when applied. This is still a new gameplay loop. that
Okay, so
requires a little bit of
350
time
health,
to-
that's a
to
lot.
adjust
Remove
and
the
get
20
used
HP
to.
5.
Learn to get those pickups.
10%
But
CDR,
now,
60
I think
magical
that
procs.
As we see
Wow.
more Feyblast, we can
Cooldown on this
better
is huge,
determine,
honestly.
Okay, is the passive actually doing enough? Is
course.
this feeling good enough? it just felt like the stats were keeping it from being bought enough to really make a determination on the passive strength.
Yeah,
Agreed.
so those additional stats will really help push to that T3, get more people on
At least
the
raw
item,
support
get
is kind
more
of funny and
feedback
more
on the
useful than
item,
Afro.
and
I actually think Afro is better than raw
direction.
support.
Cool. So is that the
Personally.
same thing going into Manticore Spike now? Is that kind of the same idea?
A little bit. This one is more regular Guardian.
That item looks really good. It
It
does.
doesn't require
Yeah,
you
it's
to be a
nice.
healer. You know, it's just how much hard CC do you have
Ooh,
and
40
how
of each
quickly
broad.
you apply it to multiple
Increase the
people.
duration of the self
So,
buff from
again,
5 seconds to
removing HP5
15.
would make
Ooh.
room for some
Ooh.
additional stats, as well
That's
as
kinda
the
nice.
CCR on Manticore
Okay.
Spike. So you're losing the HP5 and CCR. You're getting 40 of each protection.
Wow.
That's a solid chunk.
Yeah.
Again.
a trade-off that we think most support players will be happy to make.
Whether or not these are worth buying is based on whether or not people will
Elsewhere,
effectively use the
really-
passive.
And then for
The one before that, the stats alone were pretty good, to be honest with you, but we'll see. Are they increasing the max CDR cap? No.
Quite enough.
No.
As well
Only
as,
if you use
know,
Bobble.
fixing a couple of interactions with
That's it.
So
But you have to
we're
buy that item.
increasing the duration of the
Afro
self
support
buff
is better than
by
raw
10
because some
seconds.
CC, exactly. Like support raw
And
just has a slow.
increasing the
That's it.
damage dealt, from 3% to 4%, and then of course that doubles if you are the owner of Manticore Spike.
Yeah.
And the best news of
8%?
all of this, by my estimation, it's now a separate yellow damage number. So you can very clearly see
How hard it hits. Okay.
We got that in.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was
Okay.
going to be next update.
I'm pretty sure we got it in this one. Hope
Okay.
not. Or well, if it isn't,
We
then
might have
it's
to
next
double
one.
check that
Yeah,
one.
then you'll know it's
We might have to
coming.
double check that one. We will continue.
Yeah, we'll
Pretty
check,
sure.
but that is in the works. If it's not in this one, then
The
it
Bracken
means we can get
players,
it done.
like, just, you know,
Duration
getting
of the
mad
pickup
excited right
is
now.
Also noticeably different from Fablest because of the application of it.
Dead
like,
Game
this
Raw
does
XD.
not
Oh, it's so
necessarily give you a
original,
bonus
so
right away.
quirky.
We want you to be
Wow,
able to
what a good comment.
position around these deployables, pick them up when you want, and really make sure you can use, make sure you can use the passive.
240 extra damage on
Whereas
supports
the
with
Fablest,
plus
you get to shoot
300 health.
immediately. This you still have to
That's kinda
hit
crazy.
someone.
Yeah.
So we wanted
That's actually
that to
insane.
increase its chance. So it's not only getting more damage, it's also going to be more likely to connect, which I think is actually a really big component of this map.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
for
is felt
sure.
much better. That's for sure.
Well, cool. Excited to hear about that. Excited to see it happen. So next up, we're getting into a lot of mage items, it looks like.
You look
We have
like you would
whole
be a
list
better
of
dev?
mage item
What does that even
changes,
mean?
Starting with what looks like a triple of different cost decreases. So Divine Ruin,
Okay.
Spear of the Mages, Spear of Desolation, all getting cost decreases.
Triples are better.
What?
That's true.
As you know,
That's true.
Triples
We
are
do
the
know.
safest.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So in the safe triple,
They're getting
what's
cheaper?
going on? Why the fire sale?
Yeah, we
Divine
just
Ruin's
seen a lot
already
of,
so
you know,
good.
Smite Masters just completed.
That's
We still
crazy.
see all the beach decorations right behind the cameras here, and we saw some mages feel pretty good, but they weren't going for a whole lot of early pen options. It was
Got it.
really Warlock staff dominating that first item slot. And
You
we
just
started
look
to
like
see,
you love
know,
making games?
Cobb start to be good.
Well,
and
hey, thank you for just like
to be good.
objectively
A lot of
judging me
hunters
up based on my
start coming in
physical
with
appearance and
match
nothing else.
pressure.
That's a pretty cool
And
thing to do, I
usually
guess.
that's indicative that early
This is my first time watching patch notes. Thank you for going over it. Yeah, of course, of course.
And typically that's
The youngest photo of you is also the oldest photo of you?
of someone like AMC.
Whoa.
So Divine Ruin,
That's pretty
Spear of Mages,
strange.
and Spear of Desolation, all receiving just 100 gold.
All these are getting cheaper. I like that.
You know, mage builds in particular are typically more expensive than every other class. You know, they pack a lot of power, especially as they scale.
I already built them. I kind of
but
skipped on Warlocks.
we felt
Not my
like
build to
with
go
the
for.
pick rate of
Warlocks
these
is too good not to build right now, I
options,
think,
and how
honestly.
effective they
But I
are,
feel
especially
there are
after
alternatives. They're just like slightly worse. Warlocks, like other options, are still good enough.
Everyone got a little bit tankier. We didn't
But
want to necessarily increase the pen
I like this
because,
change a
you know,
lot,
how
actually.
volatile that could be, so
I
we
think
wanna
these
see
items are
how
actually like good in the
just
spaces they're in,
costs and making these
but they're just making it more affordable.
accessible earlier
Divine
in
Ruin
the
is crazy
phase
cheap.
is gonna play out.
They are like
We are going to be giving mages some power elsewhere, though.
they are literally like
It looks
spoon
like-
feeding.
It looks like we're moving into kind of
They're
the world of
spoon-feeding
the
casual
Rod
conquest
Kahooties.
players
So we have
anti-healing.
All kinds of things.
They're like, it's
Power
right here. It's
increases
so
for both
easy.
Rod
It's
and
literally
Tempest
cheaper.
Rod, and then Perfected
Just buy-
Rod
just
gets
buy
a little
anti-heal,
more than that.
and then they just
What's
shove it into their
doing
mouth.
the power increases?
Say.
Why is Rod getting all the love?
A lot of the same reasoning that.
I'm glad that Rod of Tahuti's getting a buff. Nobody was building this.
was
Nobody.
just an item that, you know, it should be
Season or two ago, I had a Scylla build that if I had damage buff was almost 1k magic power. Yeah, it's pretty easy to hit 1k right now. I'll say. You can hit 1k magic power without too much effort at the moment.
Got it.
It's going to be
Anytime Warlocks is in the meta, it's pretty easy.
For sure.
Perfected Rod is the new glyph.
The shiny season 7 or
Right.
mid-season.
Nice.
From mid-season,
Update
yeah. And similar thoughts on this as a couple of the other buffs today. Just didn't
I like
quite have
CD
the
and pen
impact
more.
that we were looking for
Warlocks
to
being
show
good, it's
off
just not
here.
what I build.
Looking to
I'll say,
give it
Warlocks has
some
10% pen on it.
extra, you know, utility. Really, it's more of the utility version of the rod as opposed to the damaging one.
Yeah, just the
so
raw.
you're going to get this ability is going to actually be able to affect your
Rod needed a buff. It was
cooldown
Blah since
as
Warlocks
well.
got good.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be able to
Well, everybody's been
prop
building
the
that
rod.
in Soul Reaver too. So
if you're going to be able to lean into this cooldown option, we want you to be able to go all in on it.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Maybe you throw a bobble in there, get some really crazy low cooldowns.
Yeah,
Never
some
know.
full
We'll
set.
It
see.
reduces
Yeah.
ultimate
You won't get
cooldowns too.
60% From bobble,
Oh,
but you
jeez.
might get, you might
Decreased
get close
passive
to
internal cooldown from 10
50
seconds to 8 seconds, so this can happen more often.
Yeah,
Really.
15 extra power,
Another important
and it can
reason
now
why
affect
you
your
do
ultimate
bobble.
cooldown as well.
Yes. The reality is as well with
Wow.
Perfected Rod of Tahuti
That's huge.
and Calamitous Rod of Tahuti that
Yeah.
these are effectively 3,600 gold items.
I'm sorry, Pre-Boiled. Did you get
You
bored
have
of
to-
like trolling a Smite game
And it
chat?
just didn't feel like Perfected Rod
Is that
in
it?
particular was worth.
Is that why you came over here to troll?
3,600 gold.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is a
Let's
step in
say,
the right direction.
did you get like shoot away
Glad
from
to
somewhere
hear it.
else?
Well, it looks like the last one here is Polynomicon,
Let's say.
just getting some decreased passive, kind of.
I'm gonna love that item. Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, we had a lot of back and
The-
forth.
oh
on
my-
Polynomicon
that's
on
crazy.
What to do with this
That's
one.
crazy.
This is one of, I mean, every mage player loves to play with Polynomicon.
Just a little fun buff.
Yeah.
What in the
Yeah.
world?
Treat.
Just a little
just getting a little bit more often.
Hi, sister, how are you?
I think is gonna make it
Good to see you.
feel a lot better.
I love that
Not
Polynomicon is
necessarily
getting a buff. That's huge.
Completely overshadowing other
Let's say.
typical mage options.
Got it.
But Poly is a lot of effective damage that you get to add to your kit in a way that other items
Mage
can't
meta? I mean, they're
really
buffing a
do.
ton of mage
Went
stuff
with
right
a
now.
little bit of a smaller
Mage
end
meta
buff
is
for
maybe.
an
We
item
haven't seen
that-
any of the other changes yet.
Cool. Well, sounds good. That kind of does it for the mage area. Moving into
Oh.
physical items. Items
Well,
you can bonk people with.
I guess that's it.
Boomba's hammer. Looks like that's getting some changes as well.
Yeah, kind of in the same vein as Perfected Rod of Tahuti, now being able to
Oh,
proc on
wait,
your,
they're bringing Boomba's
ultimate
back?
ability once again.
What?
Yeah.
Keep in mind,
Okay.
this is after a change to bring
Okay.
up proc time from 1 second off of your cooldowns to half a second off
Yeah.
of your cooldown. So,
Huh.
you know,
Okay.
once we tried a lot of things with this item. It continued to be very, very strong.
Only at half a second though.
It wasn't until
Half a
we
second isn't too bad.
removed it from ultimates and then also put it to 0.5 seconds that everyone
Among
was
other
like,
nerfs.
yeah, among
Yeah,
other
among
nerfs,
other
it was like, oh, okay, now it's a little bit too far, and we recognize that, and so now we're giving it a little bit of the strength back.
Yeah, half second
With
still isn't
with
good.
It only being 0.5 seconds.
Do you think they reduced
like
the
much
reduction
safer
to
allow it
0.75 instead of
affect
0.5?
cooldown,
Yeah.
and hopefully it can go. For, you know,
Do you think that they'll like change that back?
top of the meta,
Scale it up just a little bit more?
absolute play rate. We're hoping for a little Goldilocks.
Yeah,
So they
right
might need to
back
do a
in the
little bit
middle.
more. I still don't think this is worth building over the other stuff.
Well, next up, Jotun's hammer. Jotun's coming. Jotun's is just getting the love as well, and it's just a lot of physical power increases, just bringing
Say.
that physical power back into the battleground.
Yes, so since the 9.5 update, which there has been quite a few meta shifts from that.
They might have done it before, yeah,
in
maybe.
general, you know, the goal was to nerf burst, so the characters
Wow,
that
Jotun's
rely the
buff too.
most on burst being these
People aren't really building
traditional
Jotuns right now.
buffs in today, and
People are just building
the
Transcendence.
ability-based
People are building
assassins,
like cooldown in other areas,
starting to
Hydras,
fall.
things like that.
The basic
Wonder if they buff
Transcendence
Hydras.
assassins are in the prime of their lives right now.
Living it up.
Right, so you know, if you're a Kali or Mercury main, you're out there shredding it. But we
Oh,
want
yeah.
to
Sable
give the
told
other
me
assassins some chances.
That Hydras is bad right now.
What we're doing here is just small
I'm not sure I agree with him.
investments
I still like the item personally. I think it has some good stats, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it get like 5 more power, maybe. Jotuns is built on Thor at least. I don't even build it on Thor, dude.
So all of those
Transcendence,
getting
Hydra's
power,
Erendite, 30%
finishing off
CDR.
with Titan's Bane, which is getting some slightly different buffs, but still some buffs. So this tree that really is just the assassin's core items.
Yeah.
Small power buffs across the board, which you know many cases.
You've been using Hydras on
One of
ability
these
hunters.
that
I definitely
stack
don't do
up.
that.
Yeah.
And then Titan's
Crusher
Bane,
buff is great.
which
I still build Crusher.
fallen
I
off
really
this
like
year,
it. I think it's good right now.
percent pen option. So we're
Honestly.
trying to get this to better compete with the other percent pen options available.
Titan's Bane's getting
A
cheaper?
cost decrease.
Oh,
and a
my.
Lower cooldown on the passive.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
Titan's Bane's good.
Wait a minute.
People should buy this item.
I'll say.
Yeah, it's
I
back
think
up.
this
there.
Yeah, I'm not messing with that, dude.
We as the design team
say.
believe that is under
Hard
perceived.
pass, dude. Get out of here.
Underutilized even.
Sometimes people don't believe us when we say that, but try it.
Mods,
True.
if you
Yeah,
see
might
people
as well try
actively
it out.
trolling
What's the worst
people in
that can
chat and
happen?
stuff
You
like that, like,
lose a game unless you're playing against me. Then
I'm not dealing with
don't
it.
worry about it.
I'll say.
So next up, avoiding that, Shadow Steel Shuriken looks like it's getting some changes as well.
Yeah, so we kind of have a bunch of healing adjustments here.
These might look strange, but there is a reason for them.
We're
yeah,
working on it.
exactly.
We're
what are you eating? I'm eating some pistachios.
We're gonna go through a bunch of healing items here. We recently
Wow.
did a change.
Shadow Steel
I
Shuriken's
believe
getting
that
a
was
buff?
in mid-season to,
Hello, hunters?
adjust the
Decreased healing
time
buff
at
duration
which
from 10 seconds to
not
5 seconds.
falling
Okay, that's
buff
normal.
applies to you and how long anti-heal applies to you so that you didn't overlap.
Yeah.
We hit the most common things. Everyone felt.
I would
pretty
just
good
time
about
people
it,
like
felt
that out,
fair,
honestly.
Didn't feel like healers are all of a
So-
sudden going to take off, and so now we feel pretty safe.
The second
to
that he
go
started
ahead
trolling
and
other people in the
make
chat,
this
though,
uniform,
that's a no.
across the game.
I'll say.
Shadow
If people
Steel
are just trolling
Shuriken,
me, like I can
for
handle
some of
that
the
to a
items
certain
that,
point, but the second that
feel a
anybody
little
starts being
underwhelming,
rude to
we're
somebody else or
pairing these
disrespectful to
with
somebody
buffs
else,
to
done.
compensate.
Which is all of them.
There's just,
Yeah,
there's,
which
I
is
just don't have
all-
patience
right,
for that.
because these were the-
I've got a
the
pretty
least
thick skin,
purchased
I can handle it, you know what I
anti-heal
mean?
items, why they weren't in the first pass.
And like I'm pretty
Uh,
sarcastic
so Shadow
anyways,
Steel
like I'll
Shuriken
clap
gets a
back
little
at
bit of
people and
attack
stuff like
speed,
that, but
trading off to match
I say
that
I'm not
duration.
gonna deal with people being rude to other
Tainted
people in my
Steel,
chat.
Tainted Breastplate and Tainted Amulet, all getting the exact same treatment, going from their durations down to 5 seconds, and getting a couple of buffs. Tainted Seal Starter gets cost decrease.
I think
Tainted
realistically,
Breastplate gets a
Shadow
little
Steel's
physical
been an
protection,
easier pick than
and
Wind
Tainted
Demon,
Amulet gets a
but
little bit of magical
people have been
protection.
picking up Wind
All
Demon
of
for the
that
10%
same
pen,
vein
and that's
of
it.
These are the under purchase.
Yeah, no worries, Jabangarang. I appreciate it.
Now it's
yeah,
more
shellless
consistent across the
pistachios.
game,
Yeah.
but they could use a little bit
Thanks,
of help
KB.
anyways, and we're giving it to it.
Friend is
Yeah,
decent
one
with
of those
Poseidon.
where
What other gods would you
this
suggest?
was gonna happen as the natural progression of what happened in mid-season.
Raw feels kinda similar.
But these items also aren't
Low
really,
cooldown ultimate.
They're not really showing out.
A lot of movement speed in the kit, stuff like that. Raw could be kinda fun.
This isn't just a crazy buff or nerf to all these items that were already kind of. So
Yeah, a
cool
lot
stuff.
of shifts. A lot of shifts.
A lot of
today.
shifts,
Yeah.
very shifty.
Yeah,
90
shifty
magical power on Tainted Amulet?
But all right,
What?
so next up we have masks.
That's
Now,
so
masks
much.
Also got a lot of attention. In
90
this
power?
update, so
Or sorry, 90
what's going on
protections?
with them?
That's
Starting with
insane.
Rangers.
Yeah, both of these definitely.
He's
getting
played
a little
Raw.
bit of
Any others?
adjustment. I think that we're pretty happy with how they feel overall
Hold
in
on.
comparison to before mid-season,
Yeah.
and that they just need a little bit of tuning in order to kind of hone in on that. Rangda's getting a pretty important bug fix that is now checking for power
Smite
from
mages.
items
Let me Google.
passive. So things like Transcendence
Yeah.
weren't counting towards your power
Okay.
stacks.
That's good.
That's going to make a big difference. But we
Okay.
also got a lot of feedback.
So they
that
reduced the physical power
is
requirement.
simply
That's good.
Too hard to reach. So we're
Who's your
reducing
highest
that a
ranked
little
god,
bit.
Merlin?
It's going to be 50 power less total.
Kronos or
so
Hubwa?
10 power per
Kronos
stack.
might be okay.
You want to get to 5 stacks. We feel like this is going to put it in a much more fair area for you to be able to reach it without having to totally commit your build. Not even just.
Yeah, Kronos
you're
or
still
Hubwa
gonna
are
need to
both good
commit to
options.
damage items, which
Yeah.
is what we want.
Exactly.
But you don't have to commit to sorting by.
Also, I think
highest
ESET
power.
would be pretty
I don't
fun,
care if my
but-
character doesn't use Aaron.
and I
like
recommend
that
Yu
well.
Huang
I
to
need it
everybody.
because it's 75 power.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted
Makes
to make
my
sure
one-shot
that you
solo
could
cap build easier.
build
Yeah, no kidding. And you can like
5
flex
power
in some
items
like
normally and
some nice
that
you
was
know
really
defense
cool.
items
This,
too, or like a
in
hybrid
compa-
item.
in conjunction with the bug fix, in conjunction with the buffs to all the maces.
Who's your highest god, Ricky Bobby?
Much more easily.
Awesome. Yeah, good to hear too, because it's one of those items that it's fun to pick up an item, but when that item then dictates that you don't really get to choose a build, I can see why it'd be hard. So that'll help a lot.
Yeah, what's up,
Also,
Beanie?
Lono's mask too. A lot going on here. A lot of text. What's going on with Lono's?
Didn't they reduce the magical power requirement?
Yeah,
I
very
believe
much
so.
the same deal. Just trying to.
Oh, they
reach your
didn't really.
protection
Okay, they
requirement
didn't
a
reduce the
little more
magical
easily.
power requirement. Got it.
And
I
again,
see.
checking for stacks from.
I love Yu Huang so much. I say it took a minute for it to stick, but he's so good. I just really enjoy him. Provides 6 gold per 5, only if you're the lowest gold on the team.
But just making sure that
That's a
these
great
feel
change.
attainable
Yeah.
without being too easy.
That's
to
a really
get.
good
You know,
change.
if you can just splash 3 protection items and get enough stacks, that's going to lead to some abuse cases. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on this.
That
And
makes it so that
Rangda,
there won't be
to make
multiple
sure
people
that
abusing this item.
We feel like the trade-off that you're having to make in your build.
What's the
is
plan for today?
appropriate
Watch
for
patch
how
notes for right now.
strong
I haven't really
these starter
decided yet.
upgrades
Why, what's
are,
up?
Because Rangda's mask and Lono's mask, stat-wise, feel like some of, if not the most powerful starter items in the game.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to avoid the best of both world scenarios, where you can essentially
Yeah.
build very tanky and very damaged, and use this item to kind of edge out even more stats. So we were a little bit overly cautious with it on the launch, as seems to be a theme. But now going a little bit more powerful, still think we'll be in a
They're making
a good
masks more
place.
viable?
I,
Yeah.
I do expect to see
And I think
them
that's okay.
a bit more.
Yeah.
Yep, me too.
These are pretty important shifts, and I think we'll be.
I actually build
safe
Mask
away
and
from
Assault
that
on Circuit.
Totally high
I built the
power
Lono's
and
mask on
high tank
Circuit
situation,
in Assault,
but I think we'll
and it was
definitely see more
insane.
of these, and they have a
Bakasura
lot.
rank 9, close to Diamond. Let's go.
Halloween
Nice.
masks, more and more common. So definitely good to keep an eye on those, and we'll definitely hear y'all's feedback on it.
Good stuff, good
so,
stuff.
Next up, we're moving into kind of a starter chunk. I choked between support
All right.
and starter. Moving into
They're both
a,
right.
Yeah, they are both right. A support starter chunk of
Support
items,
starter changes.
starting with, kind of
Support's
a big
getting
shift
love?
to a handful of them that we
Question mark?
kind of touched on before. If you want to get into that.
So all of the upgrades for support items, including Lono's mask,
Yep.
will be now upgraded at level 15.
Yep.
We tried to do this in mid-season. We
Upgraded at
found
15,
some
okay.
Potential abuse cases with people.
Zeus 2 stars?
skipping starters
Jeez, there we go.
5x benevolence and stuff for the GP5. So
Yeah.
we have implemented 2 big changes here today. One is to bring all the level 15s back, so that'll be
Okay.
Sentinel's Embrace, Sentinel's Boon, Compassion,
So they're
Animosity,
upgraded at
War
level
Banner, Spartan
15.
Flag, and Lono's Mask, all upgradable at level 15. A lot of stuff. For
Yeah, they
support.
reverted that change.
7 of them,
Between the
yeah.
earring buffs, the mask changes, which you're putting a non-traditional support, as well as the
Wow.
all of these being upgraded early.
They're changing in the
However,
GP5, yeah.
Now all of the ones that generate gold, which is pretty much all of them, are also going to have an additional qualifier on that gold gain that states you must be the lowest gold total player on your team to get.
Yeah.
So
Right.
these
Huh.
items will no longer be advisable to buy in multiples.
Honestly, I think this is a really
Also
smart
some
change.
additional protections like with
I think this is a smart,
Compassion,
good
we have
change.
The gold, the GP5
Honestly.
applies. We also made an adjustment to the.
How are you liking the
passive
update so
where
far?
having
So far,
2
this patch looks
compassions in the
great.
area will not
Like,
have
they've
any
addressed a
additional-
lot of things that people have
You
been
should be able
asking
to
for, and
stack
it's looking
those
really good.
actively you're rerouting damage to aggro, and then I'm rerouting it from him to me and mitigating it again, and that was quite powerful, and that was the main concern when we launched this in the mid-season. So removing that ability as well. So these items should be significantly stronger for all traditional support.
Yeah, usually we put the patch notes up on YouTube as well.
More negative experience cases will be significantly decreased in their likelihood.
Yeah, you got to have the lowest gold on your team. You know, you still get all the other stats from these items. If for some reason you are not the lowest gold on your team, it's just kind of like flicking the switch on the GP5 meter. You know? If I've got the lowest, turn
That's
it on.
a really
as
good
soon
change.
as
I like
jump
that.
above someone else.
Yo, see you later, Ricky Bobby.
So, let me farm my mid waves alone, and that way you can get your GP5.
Excellent. So you're
gold
telling
for 5, and then even the boon, which
Sad I can't be top gold as support and assault anymore. Yeah.
Being abused in this way, but we wanted to go ahead and get this effect in for safety.
Yeah.
Well, even still, this is only for the upgrades, Gamma.
Trigger, it's not just
Like Sentinels will still give you an insane amount of gold in assault.
We didn't want
That's the thing.
people getting this, multiple people getting the gold while one person clears. So again, just for safety, especially with the level 15 combo, because a lot of the feedback was, well, if we changed it on Benevolence, then they would just buy.
My Smite addiction is in full swing after 6 years out. Yeah, I feel that.
Way you could get that much gold starting at level 15 and pull ahead was potentially going to lead to these slow metas where people would just try to play super defensively and stalemate and then get this big advantage in the late game. So overall, very exciting for early game supports.
Sounds good. Early game supports and
Nice.
me playing Hunter and being 0 and 8 because I'll definitely, I don't know how to farm. Cool. So that actually does it for items.
Are you good, Harrison? I feel like you've been going through a tough stretch.
I haven't played Smite in a while, and I got back into it the other day.
It had a rough session.
It was a rough night,
Hey man, just gotta
Get
believe
through
in yourself.
get a few arenas or something.
I just gotta
shake
hop
the
in.
rust
I gotta
off.
hop in and play with more of y'all. 'Cause usually y'all are nice, and y'all will be like, "Hey, buddy, you're supposed to be on this side of the jungle already," and I'll be like, "All right, cool." So
Yeah, you have to
anyway.
a playtest, you pretty much get a free coaching session.
Exactly.
There you go.
So I need Lerma to beat me into shape.
She will do that.
She will.
She will.
But that's it for the items. We have some god balance. to
Good
get
item
to,
changes.
though, starting with
God balance,
kind of,
all
I'm always scared.
Let's see
when
how
we
it goes.
Talk about this. Nox. Nox is.
Don't get too excited.
Don't get. All right. Not excited already. What's going on with Nox?
I don't want to
What?
oversell this, but this is yet again another minion damage adjustment on Nox. So
Okay.
playing it safe.
Okay.
One of the things we wanted to just acknowledge here.
They're buffing
is that
Nox,
This
it's clear.
god is being
All right.
mostly played as a support.
Yep.
In
Okay.
Conquest, in high level.
Got it. Yeah.
Which is important, and that's cool. And there's a lot of other support buffs that potentially Nox could benefit a lot from.
Yeah.
So we were hesitant to buff her any further.
Did they reveal Ishtar?
Especially
Not yet.
as now
No
she
new
might
god
be
yet.
With all these changes, she might be a even more viable high skill level support in Conquest.
Both those skins are so good,
That's really
Calphonia.
cool for her because this is a cool flex god.
I'll say
They've
Ragnarok
shot over
Thor,
the
Archon
years, kind of
Thanatos, those are
struggled.
classics.
However, this god
Those
is
are two of
still
the
a
best.
complete nightmare in every other mode, and she does an incredible amount of damage, is very evasive, has an extremely strong escape, and some of the most powerful lockdown in the game. That's been something that she's dominated Arena for many, many years. So we are finally using our new non-conquest tech to do one
My
of
body
a couple-
tensed
a
when they
couple of
said
these
Nox.
today.
Yeah,
Some
no kidding.
interesting shifts where buffing a god in a way that might help it in Conquest, but using the non-conquest as a way, as a safety valve to prevent them from becoming overly frustrating in the non-conquest modes where they tend to excel already.
Yeah, like Nox.
Yeah, the one skin that I see everybody wanting that nobody seems to have is Sea Maiden Medusa.
I cannot.
I don't see many
believe
people with
how
that skin
many
at all.
times that god gets away from me in Arena.
I know,
I'm like,
bad.
oh, I've definitely got her this time.
Yeah.
Nope,
criminal.
gets away.
You fire off like a Persephone or an Atlas ult and just whoop.
So
gone.
the most frustrating thing about Nox is that escape and that lockdown. So
Yeah.
we're increasing her cooldown slightly, so she cannot lock you down as often. She cannot escape as often.
it.
It's gonna, we have seen some pretty noticeable data.
That looks like a good change.
Effects
Yeah.
from these changes. So we would expect this
I say,
to
not as big of a change as I expected Nox to have.
A little bit. I still expect.
I think that she's getting reworked at some point, but for now,
this
this is what it is.
A little less frustrating.
And that's fine.
Yeah, cool. Well, that all sounds good. Excited to hear that. Next
My
up,
best friend
Janice
Seth
also
has
getting
it, and he
some
says he
buffs, it
never
looks
feels like playing Hunter.
Yeah, just
Wow.
we noticed that he was really lagging behind.
These changes
in the
should be
base
coming out
physical
next week.
protection department, and even though you don't want to be
Giannis
getting hit
buffs.
that often anyways on Giannis,
Unstable
minion
Vortex
damage,
buff?
that kind of
Oh,
stuff, that
man.
can all add up pretty quickly. So just giving him a little bit
All
of
right.
a buff on his increase on his base physical protections. And
So he's
then
getting tankier,
the
and he's gonna hit harder?
smallest little tiny buff to Unstable Vortex, just to help him clear just a little tiny bit.
It's 10 power. Pretty
Feels
much
like
10 power
itemization
difference
really
at max
isn't in
level.
his wheelhouse right now either, and we want to acknowledge that will affect a god coming.
My
in
best
and
friend
out of
has
the
it, and
meta,
if he
but
ever feels
Giannis
like
has
playing
just been
Hunter, he
absent
uses
for a
it.
little bit
I did
too
completely
long,
misread
so
that
just giving
message.
him a
I'm sorry.
slight nudge up to viability.
A lot of information going through my head right now.
Cool. Next up, Raijin. Looks like Percussive Storm.
I think
getting,
Kuzumbo's super
a little
fun.
bit of a
I don't
buff
know.
As well.
Yeah, you're going to see some similar themes here. We have a couple of mages.
Yes,
that are
dude. Love
actually
Raijin.
Generally perceived
Love
as quite
Raijin.
good because they
Raijin's one of my
These
favorite
mages
mages.
tend to be
He's very
played
fun.
Only by pros and pretty
very mobile.
struggle pretty much everywhere else.
Got
And
it.
even right now, the pros aren't interested in them either. So that's a good sign that they could use something.
Yeah, they could use a little
Yeah.
tune.
So because of
Love
the
Raijin.
9.5 changes to tankier minions,
Good
as
stuff,
well
good
as
stuff.
tankier gods,
Yeah.
mages have
This'll
struggled
be
a
big
little
for
bit
him.
to clear and to kill their opponents. So these are a couple of the ones who we feel like were hit the most by it.
Yep.
So we got the Janus getting his
So a 20
main
boost to his
damaging
one.
ability
Good
being
stuff.
buffed. We also have Raijin
like that.
getting a similar buff for similar reasons. And then we're going to move on to another god who doesn't quite have the same buffs, but the reasoning behind it is generally the same. Struggling for the same reasons.
Okay.
Yes, that struggling god is Thoth, and I mean,
Oh,
Dead
no,
Reckoning getting
no.
a little bit of a buff as well.
No.
Yeah, that's his passive, just making sure
No.
that you can get your flat pen from your passive online a little bit
No.
earlier. This is,
No.
bar none, one of the best mage passives in
Worst-
the game. It's just
worst
not
patch
valued very well by,
ever.
By a lot of our
Worst
player
patch
base because
literally in
it's
the history of
hidden
Smite.
and it's
No.
stat-based and all that kind of stuff. But
No.
I think that you will feel
it's too soon.
getting your flat pen
He was too
a
good
little
for
bit
too long.
earlier.
Yeah.
And then
There's-
Final Judgment, it gets to an okay spot in the late game.
I don't want to hear him rationalize why this is good. This is terrible. Thoth is literally the best out of mages. The game is worse when he's better. How do you not know this? Like... Like, where does it stop, man? Like... It's like, you know, so many steps forward. There was like 15 steps forward, and then with one step, they erase all the progress of all like 15 steps forward that they took.
Next up, Scotty getting
Good
a couple
God.
buffs kind of across a few abilities as well. So more dangerous icicle spears and doggos.
Yeah, moving
Oh,
on to
man.
some hunters.
Terrible
here.
change.
There's going to be another theme in today's patches, which is we're going to be doing a lot of adjustments on.
Okay,
gods
Scotty
who
buff is cool.
use
I say
roots.
Scotty hasn't really been a staple in the
So
meta
the
for a minute, so
mid-season, we
cool.
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 Roots
That's a huge buff on her ultimate.
We
Jeez,
wanted
that's
to
wild.
decrease the likelihood
That's gonna be really
of
good.
long CC chains.
Yeah.
And roots were very good at that.
They were.
Especially when properly.
I got an
timed
ad,
well.
what happened? They're
God
buffing
darn,
Thoth,
then
which is
DR by
terrible
some
and
other
stupid.
CCs, and then you go ahead and follow up with
I
the
came back
root.
yesterday from a
Really
1
was
month
just
break. That'll
nail
last
on
long
top
next
of
week. Yeah, no
it.
kidding.
So we are quite
Yeah,
happy
Calder
with that
absolutely
change,
gonna solo people.
decreasing the total chain CC across the whole game, but it did negatively affect a couple gods. No one really plummeted.
Yeah.
A couple gods had some small decreases, so you're going to see a variety of different damage and utility buffs.
That's gonna
And
be a
in
lot of
one
damage.
rare instance, we're
60%
actually going to
scaling on
increase
Snowstorm,
this
too. That's
root
gonna pump.
duration CC back.
Scotty actually
We
might be
generally
sick.
don't want to do that very often though, because that is a little antithetical to the whole point.
Once I get every god a diamond, it might be
CC
time to be a
across the
Scotty
game.
main.
Yeah.
But there is one god on today's update show that feels especially reliant on that. So
Yep.
Scotty, a hunter, so that kind of saves us some time to discuss. We're going to talk about this a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scotty as a hunter, generally not perceived as very strong, just does a lot of damage output, not a lot of utility, but she does have a root on that ultimate, which
Yeah.
brought her down a little bit, and her Piercing Cold, which is a kind of her standard line attack, was a
Yeah.
little low compared to most other hunters, especially with the 9.5 changes to
Really?
minions and gods.
Yeah,
right.
the damage.
A lot
Wow.
of similar themes today that we're going to be keeping.
Scotty's the
on,
Anubis
so
of hunters.
getting some
I mean,
buffs
she can
there,
still
as
move
well
while
as Witcher's
attacking,
Grasp,
so
which,
still better
when
than
you look
Anubis.
at the total damage from that ultimate, it can look like a lot if you get hit by every tick
Little-
from
Yeah.
both
bit.
sources, but it's
Yeah.
True.
extremely rare for that to happen. So
Yeah, agreed.
Getting some scaling buffs there just to make sure that if you do get hit by
Please tell me I'm seeing things when they're not buffing Boombas again. No, they buffed Boombas, but I think it's a reasonable buff. It's not bad.
Crazy
It
how
affects
when
your
you
ultimate, but it's
release
still only a half second,
an
so
update
that's
that
not bad.
shakes the entire tree. How many little things you get to go back and be like, oh, we never. That's
Plenty to
new.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, plenty to
so-
do.
I think the
Super
diminishing
cool.
returns changes are
Next
good.
up,
It
Neat,
just depends on what character you're
classic
playing.
Favorite, also getting a little bit of buff, along with Spirit.
And we kept the
Arrow.
dev text on this one.
Oh,
Roots
did we really?
nerfed.
Roots
Yeah,
nerfed.
that already happened. It,
Yeah.
it
It's
already
just
got
to be
yeah.
a note to us, but you all can see that one too.
I
Right.
shared that
When
with
you think of gods with roots, I think she comes up.
Yeah.
Near the top.
Neat's root is a focal
Okay,
point.
so
Yep,
Neith's
exactly.
what
So
Spirit
just making
Arrow
sure
is
that
now
you can
13
use it a
seconds at
little
all
more
ranks.
often now that
Yeah.
it won't be
Decrease the
as
mana
potent
cost of it.
as it used to be.
Yeah, those changes are fine.
Not wanting
I
to
don't
bring
hate it,
down the
honestly.
late game cooldown because
It's okay with me.
god that typically does buy a lot of cooldown reduction. But
I
just
like
making
diminishing
it
returns
easier
overall.
for her to establish
Obviously,
lane
it feels
pressure
bad on
early
Artemis,
in
but
the
even
game.
still, Artemis pumps damage and kills
decreasing its
everybody.
mana cost a
So
little bit, because even though
doesn't
she,
really matter.
again, typically buys Transcendence, her early game can be a little bit awkward with
Yeah.
if you're not great at managing your mana. So just making it a little bit easier to use this ability more often and then not cause you to run out
we'll
of
see if
mana
Artemis
for
gets a change here.
There's
Honestly,
also got
she
some
got played
new
at Worlds,
competition in
so
that,
Might not.
roll. So
True.
give her a little buff to make sure she keeps up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Excited to talk about that later.
Yeah.
So next up, kind of moving into the out of the hunter area into Guan Yu. Looks like Guan Yu also getting a
Oh.
little bit of a buff, just some cooldown
Wow.
touches on.
That's
Conviction
surprising.
Warriors.
I think Guan
We
Yu
wanted
feels
to make
pretty
sure
good
we
right
got
now.
something
But
for every role.
Yeah.
We were looking at a lot of the Warriors, and they were a little bit more difficult to assess as far as who's ready for buffs and nerfs right now. But we
yeah,
did, we
because
did,
I think pretty much every
pinpoint Guan Yu.
warrior is really good
He
right
didn't
now.
have any roots, but
Honestly,
he has fallen
they
off
all
quite
feel
a bit
sick.
over the year. He was
Pretty much only
really
Nike.
strong a year or so ago.
I remember.
Took some big nerfs there, and we're just going to walk those back slowly. Guan Yu kind of has a low cooldown theme, as does some of the mid-season and recent patch. So
Yeah.
we wanted to just play into that a little bit more, make sure he can really.
Sable,
use his
please, no
conviction
spoilers.
warriors
We're going
will
through it.
very often. Weave that into his basic attacks. He's a really fun
Fabless
god to
hoops and
play. Really, like,
shout shields over
flows
in-game
super well,
comms.
especially once you really get that
Shout
cooldown
shields
flow.
over in-game comms every 4
just a
seconds.
little
Strat
bit
even
of
better.
leaning into
True.
his
Yeah.
strength to help him shine.
That's true.
And,
Guan Yu Fabless
maybe
hoops
we
is really
bring
good.
him back in that solo lane.
Yeah, just bring. I mean, I agree. Guan Yu is one of the people that actually kind of got me into this. I remember getting my first the first.
I
Skin
like this
from,
change,
a
personally.
convention I went to, the little card. It's one of the very.
Yeah.
first
Oh, that's
things
a
I
really
ever
dope.
got.
Say it's a slight buff to
convention
Guan
skin.
Yu, and I think he already
Like
feels good, so
2016?
he's just going to be a little bit
I
better.
think so. Yeah.
Fine with me.
If you remember the exact
I'm
year.
pretty
I
sure it was
don't remember,
2016.
So throw that in the chat. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I love to see that. Next up, Set looks like getting some changes, and Sandstorm getting a little nudge.
but-
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
one. This might be my favorite
thought-
buff in the whole patch. Set is one of those gods that is really, really good in the early game.
What?
Oftentimes can get off to these incredible leads, but then as soon as you get into the team fighting stages later on, it's very hard for you to pick your spots.
10%
And
mitigations?
his whole kit is so dependent on Sandstorm because it turns your ultimate
Wow.
from this like good
That is
movement speed
wild.
stim and all that kind of stuff to like,
That's
oh my god,
crazy.
this guy is like healing and spawning a million clones and
Yeah.
10%
doing
damage
all these
reduction?
crazy things.
Set solo
This
now
buff
viable?
To just take it from.
I mean, I
physical
played Set
damage
solo the other day, and it
mitigation
already
from
felt super viable. It's
damage
already really good.
across against all damage.
Right.
Makes him a
He's like Sun Wukong, but when he
significantly
ults, he
better
kills
team
you.
fighter when he's going to be getting hit by
That's the
magical
difference.
and physical damage
Yeah, I'll
without
say.
making his laning phase against other warriors or when ganking other.
That's really good. That's sick. Oh, because
ganking
he's
a lane
encountered by
against
mages. That
physical
makes sense.
characters.
Yeah.
It doesn't make that any better.
Yeah,
And so I think that there's a really cool area to try and get him to be a better god in those team fight scenarios.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm excited to see what it does.
Looks like a good change.
Throw in a little
I'm here for it.
before we go to Ares, which is that I know it looks like we're buffing a lot of traditional like SPL gods.
Yeah.
And sometimes the Smite community's memory can really get frozen in time, and people
Yeah.
are probably imagining, well, Thoth and Raijin and Set, these are all top tier. None of these gods have been played in Pro League in like over a year. Like
They've been
none
low,
of
very
them.
low.
So I know it might seem like just recently they were stomping all over the place, but all of these gods are pretty hard to play. All these gods have suffered a good bit from the 9.5
say.
changes.
Yeah.
So although this might look a little scary, these
Oh,
gods
so
do,
Thoth hasn't been played in
they
Pro
need-
League in the last year?
They maybe needed
I didn't
it
realize
for a
that.
while, but we took some time.
I say, but
really
I guess that's
making
because
sure
I don't
they
watch the
needed
Pro League.
before
I
we
just
did it.
actually play the game, you know?
Hoping to see a few of them come back, especially
I say,
in
but
Pro
hey,
League,
what do we know, right?
types of gods
What do
that
we
can
know?
shine.
Yeah, kind of falling off a little
Now
bit.
we can talk
Yeah,
about
go ahead and
one
buff
type of
Thoth another
god that
time.
I
Why not?
love, which is Ares.
Yeah, because you
Why
got
not?
Ares, like you just said.
Sounds like a
so,
plan,
I mean,
dude.
Ares also getting some buffs kind of across the board, it looks like a little bit. Dive into it.
So this is a revert from the
Ares buffs too?
3.5.
Oh, man.
Got it.
So
Oh, man.
now that everyone's a little tankier, it's okay to give Ares some of his god damage
Yeah,
back.
just a little bit.
Then we also
As a
have
treat.
another
Hmm.
conquest, non-conquest shift. So no escape is much more powerful
Interesting.
in non-conquest modes. Tends to be, right? It
significant.
beeds a lot more. You're
Okay.
just more likely to hit more targets more times.
We know nothing is the
every
grand
now.
universal
So
plan.
What
True.
we're doing here is kind of the first example of a very literal shift.
Again, the game is worse
where
when
he's
Thoth
getting
is
a
good.
10, seconds
Character is obnoxious.
off of his cooldown, but we're also increasing the ultimate cooldown in non-conquest by an appropriate percentage to essentially keep it at the same. We wanted to keep clean numbers.
Okay.
We didn't want to do 28%.
I don't think the
or
Thoth
whatever,
buff,
so we
Thoth
did
buff
round
is
that
super
to 30, so
undeserved.
he's
Even though he's a
actually
super
getting
annoying
2-second
god, that doesn't
nerf
mean they
in
can just leave him
non-conquest
bad.
as well, but
I think
this
they can.
effectively buffs him in conquest while keeping
I think they can
the
100% leave him bad.
level he want at non-conquest, which is a really cool way to use this new tech we have.
Yeah,
The non-conquest
Yeah,
change is
very excited
happening
about this
because
buff and
it'll keep his
what we
cooldown
can
the
do
same
with
on
things
his
like
ultimate
this in the future.
non-conquest.
I mean,
That's
you
it.
look at no escape,
That's
and
all
it
it is,
doesn't
lag.
feel like a 100-second cooldown.
If you
level
leave him bad,
strength
you may as well remove him
in
from the game.
Conquest,
Sounds
but
good. If they could remove him and Persephone
like
and
AJ
Bastet,
said,
that'd be great.
It can very easily
That
show
works
up
for me,
that
actually.
way in
I'd be okay with
non-conquest.
that.
And I did see a lot of feedback
okay with
on,
that.
I can't believe Ares was one of the gods that got a non-conquest nerf, and so I think that some players might be surprised that he is we're keeping his number in non-conquest about the same.
Yeah.
But I believe that he was the most resilient to his non-conquest nerfs on the first pass.
All
He
three?
stayed the closest
Absolutely. Yes.
to his previous win
I don't
rate.
recall seeing feedback about people not believing Ares is good in non-conquest. But
Maybe it was
this god has
one
been probably one of the
particular
top 5 winningest gods in Arena for all of Smite history.
believe
right?
it.
And,
I
and,
believe
and
it.
that spreads well to Joust and Slash as well. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean,
He's good.
Yeah, the wombo combo potential is incredible. There's
Then like
more
Ares
than a
literally
handful of
lives
other
in
gods
Assault.
that if you land a half decent, I mean, even a
You
2
know?
or 3 member Ares ult,
He
you
blinks
can
in,
wipe
gets
the team
literally every
basically.
single
So
person hit with his chains.
I super believe it.
Yeah, you're right,
Next
Javel.
up, we
That's
got a
fair.
good
They
boy
wouldn't
on
do
the
that.
list, Cerberus, also getting some buffs. Been
Oh, okay.
good. Gets a
I
little
thought
buff as a
Cerb was
treat.
pretty good right now,
And,
but hey.
Spirit of Death, Soul Expulsion, Stygian Torment.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. The increase to
3
healing is
abilities all
cool.
getting buffs. Let's get
I
to
actually
it.
like his passive a
Yeah,
lot.
I think the passive, you know, with all the healing changes in mind,
Yeah.
you know, you're taking a look at his passive, and this is a cool, unique
like it.
identity that is, you know,
Very
there are
much
lots
so.
of gods.
Oh,
who
well, I guess I'm just a really good
anti-heal with their
Cerberus then, Sable.
abilities,
That's
but
fine.
Cerberus is the one who absorbs that healing, and we wanted to kind of play up that.
Shut down
unique
Mulan
aspect
Soul Eater
of his
more,
kit
please.
A little
Yeah.
bit, and also, like AJ said, a god that probably has a lot of SPL PTSD for some people, but
Yeah.
you know that it's been a little bit. I know Mike did play a Cerberus support game at Masters, so thanks PPM for that, making our messaging worse. But overall,
He's viable.
Yeah.
Cerb is doing well
One-
right now, not
one
killing it, but
pick,
definitely
by
not
the way.
awful. Yeah, I like Cerberus
we
personally.
just think that he could use
I think
a little
he's,
bit of
I think he's good.
help, and these are some good places.
Kind of an all-around buff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit of everything.
I enjoy
just
Cerberus
a
a lot
little
currently.
sprinkle of everything.
I think he's great in
do that
solo.
often, but I think
Yep.
this
No.
was a,
I think
this
he's
was
a bad
reasonable
support,
place to
but I
do
don't
it,
think he should be
and
played
it just-
support.
It fit well with the kit.
Yeah, well, you need more than one buff. There's more than one head. You know, it'd be like giving
Yeah.
it one treat doesn't seem fair. So
You ready to go to the next god?
My God, these are terrible. This is terrible work from both of you. I get the Cerberus joke on my right, and then this Kumbhakarna pun transition on my left. What am I supposed to do with this?
This is what the people want, Aggro. So I've been doing this for a while, right?
That's true. That's right. Yeah, I apologize. Please continue.
I don't tell
with
you how to
your- with your bit.
my feelings are hurt.
Anyway.
yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry,
Kumbhakarna. It's Kumbhakarna. Coming up
Kumbhakarna,
next.
so he's been on the low end for a while. There's been a lot of
What?
discussion about buffs and
Okay, whatever,
bigger
whatever.
changes
That
potentially.
entire interaction
He
was
also
just so
has a root,
uncomfortable.
so he fits
Oh,
into
well.
that category.
of course.
We would look for a couple different ways to buff Kumbhakarna. Again, kind of a unique way. So first of all, this passive.
Okay.
Pretty big buffs here.
So he wakes up with
The,
more health and mana.
cooldown
That's
we cut
big.
by an entire
Reduce the
minute.
cooldown. Wow.
Entire minute.
Which
Okay.
It's very, very long cooldown.
So every
so
3
it's
minutes,
still quite long.
Kumbhakarna can die and
but
not die. That's good.
That's going to make him certainly harder to kill, and he's going to respawn at higher health.
Wait, he can
as
belly
well
bump more
when he's
often?
Not properly killed from that passive.
What?
Again, it's one of his unique things.
Are we getting more Kumba belly bumps?
Play this up a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's actually amazing.
Throwback, which is kind of a
That's his
a
first
very
ability,
important
correct?
ability
Throwback?
for Kumba for both damage.
That's
poke,
the minion belly bump?
closing and escaping.
That's big, dude.
Gonna let that scale with cooldown into the late game,
Nice.
which should just give him
Nice.
quite an additional bit. Of
I've been loving Kumba solo
flexibility,
lately, so
utility.
this works
and
for
then
me.
finally, Epic Uppercut, which is kind of like budget Neja alt, you know, when you really
bit.
just want to take out one person.
600 damage?
But
Wow.
people are tankier now, so it's
That's,
easier to
that's a
survive
beefy
from
boy.
things like that.
Yeah.
So
That is a
I believe
beefy
we had
knockup right
Neja
there.
buffs already. We did have those already. Are we doing those again? I think we might have
Jeez.
done them once before.
My
and then
Kumba
we
solo
might
is
still
about
do
to
them
delete
again, so
somebody.
Apologies if that's spoilers.
Maybe we
I
play
think
some
that's just a
Kumba jungle.
spoiler. Yeah, I know for a fact that's just a spoiler. Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Maybe we try
Anyway,
some Kumba jungle.
Epic Uppercut.
That's a
getting
lot of
some
damage.
there too, just to make sure.
That's a crazy amount of
with
damage.
Kumba, that's one
Fighters
of his main
Mask,
gameplays.
Kumbhakarna jungle?
Isolate someone, bring that target down. We want to make sure that that has a better chance.
Fighters Mask
And
Kumba
now
jungle, I'm
he's
just saying.
unquestionably sleepier.
That's
right?
true.
He gets sleepy 1 minute faster.
Increased
Yeah.
sleepiness.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
sleepier now.
Wow.
33%.
Nap time buff for
I feel that. I
Kumbhakarna.
turned
That's
26
huge.
like a month ago, and I feel like I
40 in
also
all
got a
ranks? I mean, even still, though.
sleepiness thing.
600 damage on the ultimate?
Definitely
Like, looking at the number?
sleepy.
That's beefy, dude.
Everybody. all the time.
Forever.
If
Oh.
anybody's not, tell me how.
Yeah, true. Send that into us. Next up,
Hmm.
Terra, also getting buffed. Terra's already buffed. She just need more buff. That's so much muscle.
That's
Okay,
pretty
so-
good, but she
Thank
does
you.
need a buff in terms of her actual
Gameplay.
in-game
Yeah,
strength.
that's fair.
Again,
Yeah.
a god that was affected
I think
by
Terra
the root
needs more
changes,
quality of life
not
than
getting
buff.
any sort of duration change to her
Yeah.
root, but
Okay.
instead trying to let her use it a little bit more often. You know, Force of Nature is the dash that sets up the root.
Monolith
so
takes
wanted
5
to
hits
let
to
her use
destroy
that a
now?
little bit
That's
more
good.
often.
That's
and
really
then
good.
Monolith itself,
And they're giving it a
making
damage
sure
buff.
that
I like
when
that.
you can
Good change, honestly.
shatter it, it's going to
Great
deal a little
change.
bit more damage and make it a little bit harder to shatter. You know, when she was at her peak SPL strength, this was a common suggestion in order to put a little bit more counterplay at the high level. Of course. But because she has received a lot of other nerfs since that point and decreased in
great
strength
Terra buff. Yeah, I
outside
agree
of just
actually.
that setup and
The
root,
other thing I would
we
say
felt like it was pretty safe
is
to
like
make
speed
models
up the
a
time it
little
takes
more
to deploy her
reliable.
to and collapse her
Also,
too.
might give her a little bit more solo.
That's the only other thing I would say.
Which I think
If they did that, that would make
Terra
it feel really
generally
good.
seen as, like, not a do-nothing solo guardian, right? She has to use her abilities very proactively.
Yeah.
You gotta use multiple
Yeah,
at a time.
she's very, very, very
effective.
tactical, very like
So,
high skill ceiling
I like
character.
the kind of bruiser Terra. So
just make it a little smoother, I
Good
think.
micro, macro
Would be
play.
nice.
All right, so
you
we've
know?
been talking about so many routes. It reminded me that Sylvanas
Is that
up
it?
next,
Oh, that's all they're
actually.
giving her. Oh, Sylvanas
so
changes.
also
Let's
some
go.
buffs
We
for
love
Sylvanas.
Sylvie.
He has a root. He's made of roots.
Yeah.
His name is Grover. This is the one.
This is the one?
This is the one that we decided to buff the root duration.
There it
And that's
is.
because of a
Okay.
very specific combo feature within Sylvanas, right? You
Yeah.
wanna
Root
hit
pluck,
that
right?
root, then you want to get the pull.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't really want to buff any AoE roots. We didn't really want Terra's root lasting
of
longer,
course.
right? That can
Got
hit
it. That makes
teams.
sense.
Right.
I missed the old wall
So
clap dash. Yeah,
this
that was
was the one
fun.
we chose
But
to
it
focus on.
was
Kumba,
being
he's got
abused by
multiple
people who were
forces.
trying to do it full
Plenty.
damage cheese,
Yeah,
you know?
So he doesn't necessarily need that
So.
either. So that was very
A 1 second
important
cooldown
to
buff?
us.
There we go.
And we've also got a decreased cooldown in Nature's Grasp. That was
say that's
like
nice.
26 seconds, not
I know,
that
not
long
that
ago.
long ago.
And we've just been bringing it down bit by bit to really like
The
again,
people want more pulls.
They
You know,
do.
they want to pull people as often as possible.
we want to play into the god's strengths. Right?
I think-
this
I think
is-
pulls
that's
are a
one
lot of fun.
Sylvanas' unique features.
Like-
it's a tough skill shot to hit still.
It is.
Yep.
So
it is.
we
I
wanna
gotta
make
say,
sure that
when I
it's
see like
effective.
cool support plays from League of Legends and stuff like that, like the plays that I think of are pulls where I see somebody throw a hook and grab somebody out of the middle of a team and get blown up. Like those are the clips that I see. Like that's what I think of when I think of sick pulls. And I think that's exactly what people want from supports. People want to see people make big, impactful crowd control support plays. And it feels sick when you land them. Roadhog Hook was one of the most satisfying abilities to land in Overwatch. There's a reason why they're cool, you know? So I think the more stuff like that exists in the game, the better, honestly.
And we're very happy with where it ended up.
Like, just for watching
we just feel like
purposes, right?
those two gods in particular have a little bit of room to be slightly more threatening.
Belly flop
without
getting cheaper,
reaching back
good.
to their pre-
Bacchus is still really mana hungry. That's good.
Overall, this isn't going to be any damage.
Oh,
for
lane
Bacchus,
damage to minions? Okay.
Two gods at the very least. But
Wait, what?
instead allowing him to
Oh,
be
and
more
scaling
threatening
stun duration. Wow.
with his utility,
That's
not
big.
just his damage. So,
That's big. That's good.
decreasing
I like
mana
these
cost on
changes.
Belly flop, letting him do it
I like
more
that a
often.
lot, and I love Bacchus,
A spicy
yeah.
change
Yeah, he's
for
fun.
Belch of the Gods to help him clear the wave a little bit better.
Yeah, this is a
he-
big update.
Yeah, he had
really,
like
really
a-
good so
he
far.
ate something
Aside
spicy.
from the Thoth buff,
Now
which
it- now
you know
it
keeps
hurts.
Thoth
Yeah,
irrelevant for as long as
very
possible.
Yeah, exactly. Only if they're using the correct skin, of course. But yeah, we don't think that this is going to make him a premier pressure support.
The minion damage
but
is so
he was
much.
at the
No, well, he
very,
wasn't
very
helping
bottom
push the lane
of,
hardly at all with his
Hey,
belch.
I'm a hunter who needs a little
wasn't
bit
doing
help
much.
clearing. I need my support to help me hit
He
the
can barely
wave.
clear his own buffs.
It's like, oh great, I've got Bacchus. Like he's not going to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
So helping
was
him in that
bad.
regard, as well as increasing his stun duration, just felt like this was a little bit too short throughout the game. 1 second is very, very short for a long channel stun.
Now I wish I got Iroh or
Takes
however
a
you
long
spell it.
time
I think
to
you
go
can still
off.
buy it. It's just
Requires
expensive.
passive to be stacked to be effective.
a lot of boxes that need to be ticked in
Lot
order for
plays
that
into it,
stun
of
to
course.
go off. So felt
Yeah.
like we could afford to give that a little bit of strength.
Okay.
And then he also loses some mana cost there, and in conjunction,
A lot of people
with all
didn't even
the
know that Bacchus's burp applied anti-heal.
itemization going from a different duration to 5 seconds to match the anti-heal duration.
Good.
A bunch of gods are getting that treatment as well.
a
And
good
Bacchus
change.
is just the first on the list here. So
Okay.
making sure that, again, we don't want any overlap or gaps between when you are officially considered out of god combat.
I'm considering my
and
Smite Fire reignited.
being
Yeah.
anti-healed. We want those to be perfectly aligned.
Not the most exciting buff, just increasing by 1 second on a debuff, but it is a good standardization that makes sure that it plays
Best
well
buff ever.
with
Fix the
dollar
gem to
mechanic.
dollar
Yep.
inflation.
And
1,000 gems for
Bacchus
$10.
getting
Come
a lot
on, make
of
it
other
happen.
buffs
Yeah, no
with
kidding.
other gods being done a little bit more
No
for
kidding.
consistency's sake, but
That would be better.
Also, none of these guys are particularly
Yo,
overpowered
Akuma.
right now. Cullen got a lot more play.
Akuma, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate it. You're amazing. Hope you're having a lovely day today. Good to see you in here.
Also, very specifically used for counterplay. So Sobek,
Thank you for 4
Chang'e,
months of support.
Cullen, and Medusa, all gonna get that increased healing.
Why fix the gems when people still buy 'em? True.
Yeah.
Yep.
By 1 second.
Good.
You know, so
Increasing the duration of
Nice
Sobek's
and-
anti-heal.
nice and uniform.
Bring it
Yeah,
in line.
nice and
Good.
flat across the board.
Chang'e
So
as well.
That
Good.
actually will do it for our god
Good,
balance
good.
and the item balance. That's the balance section, y'all. That was a lot
Okay.
of stuff. You got a couple of teasers.
Colin?
It was a treat. It was a good
Honestly,
time.
like,
Thank y'all
everything
both
but
so
Thoth,
much for
good
all of
balance.
that.
Of course.
I like all of
next
it.
up, we have some community news, but a fun
I like
little
all of
video
it
to lead us
personally.
into that. Excited to see y'all.